Hi, my name's Gabe. For this problem, we're going to consider the limit as x approaches 2 of x to the fourth minus 2x squared minus 8, all divided by x to the fourth minus 6x squared plus 8. So for parts A and B of this problem, we're asked to use a graphing utility to approximate this limit. So for part A, we're going to use the graph to approximate the limit. So let's go ahead and plug this function into our graphing calculator. Before we graph the function, let's make sure our window size is correct. The standard size will work. And let's go ahead and graph our function. Now from here, we'll want to use the trace feature of our graphing utility. And we see that as our x values get closer and closer to 2, so as x approaches 2, our y values appear to be getting closer and closer to 3. So what this tells us is that this limit is approximately 3. Now for part B, we're asked to use the table feature of our graphing utility to approximate this limit. So what we're going to do is press the table button, and what you'll see is that the x values go from 1 to 2 to 3, and when x is equal to 1, the y value is negative 3. When x is equal to 2, the y value gives us an error, which means our y value is undefined. And when x is equal to 3, our y value is approximately 1.57. So what we want to do is we want to change this width of our intervals to something smaller so that we can get a better idea of what our limit is. So let's change the width of our interval from 1 to 0.01, but any number quite a bit smaller than 1 will work. And instead of starting at 0, let's start a little bit closer to 2 with something like 1.9. Now if we go back to our table, what we see is that as we change our x values to be getting closer and closer to 2, we see that our y values get closer and closer to 3. And even though our y values are undefined when x is equal to 2, since we're only looking for the limit as x approaches 2, we don't care what the y value is at 2, just what the y values are as x gets closer and closer to 2. Now, for part C, we're asked to algebraically find this limit. So let's go ahead and write down the limit. So this is the limit as x approaches 2 of x to the fourth minus 2x squared minus 8, all divided by x to the fourth minus 6x squared plus 8. So here, since if we go ahead and substitute in 2, what we'll have is we'll have 0 divided by 0. So our function will be undefined. However, we can begin by factoring and see if we can cancel anything. So this is equal to the limit as x approaches 2. If we factor the numerator factors into x squared plus 2 times x squared minus 4. And the denominator factors into x squared minus 2 times x squared minus 4. So from here, we see that both the numerator and the denominator have a factor of x squared minus 4. So these two factors will cancel. And this will be equal to the limit as x approaches 2 of x squared plus 2 divided by x squared minus 2. Now here, we can go ahead and substitute 2 in for x, which leaves us with a 2 squared plus 2 divided by a 2 squared minus 2. Now here, you'll see that I did not write down the limit as x approaches 2, because from this stage to here, I actually took the limit. So I substituted x equals 2 into the function. Now what this is equal to is 6 divided by 2, which is equal to 3, which was exactly what we approximated the limit to be in parts A and B. Thank you.